You have not.
Hey, this is Chris Creekmore, and thank you for joining our ongoing webinar series. I'm seeing some familiar names, and I'm seeing some old names. Um, Karen, I think we had you through our database maybe back in 2018. Sharon, thanks for joining. Neil, always great to see you. I hope you both are there on board. Craig, good to see you. Good to have you on board for this webinar. And had a few others that are registered, so I'm going to give them just a quick minute. But I just wanted to go through just some general logistics of the webinar. This will last about 30 minutes, and I've got several panelists on. We may have some camera issues with some of the panelists, but I assure you they got great input, and they are here on board. Also, Karen Pig and John Del Judas are on board. They're part of the Creekmore Realty Group team. So,
Good evening.
thank you, Karen. And topic for this webinar is new construction insights, in particular for the coastal North Carolina region. Got a lot of information to go over. So I want everybody to know that this webinar, it is recorded and it will be saved onto, Michelle, thanks for joining. It will be on our website. So if you go to the events tab of Retire2NC website, it's in the bottom right corner, retire2nc.com, you'll see all our past webinars are recorded on there. So also, if you can hover over your Zoom tab, you'll see a Q&A panel. So if you have questions during the webinar, certainly drop a question into Q&A, and we will get that answered for you. So I have Sandy Finch that has joined us. Sandy Finch is with Coastal Club of the Carolinas, which is down in the Calabash region, and she is with Chesapeake Builders. So hello, Sandy. Thank you for joining.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah, awesome. Great community. And I've known Sandy for years, and so I wanted to have her on board because it's a new construction community, certainly falls into play of what we're going to be talking about. Also, Lucas Wright is on the panel. I've also known Lucas for many, many years, dating way back when he was working with Bill Clark Homes. Now he is with Kent Homes. So, Lucas, hello.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, Chris.
Awesome to have you. Lucas is a great guy and a great person to have in your corner when you're going through new construction. I also, in particular with Kent Homes, also asked Clay Robertson to be on board, and Clay is with Home Trust Bank, and I've also known him for many, many years. He's done new construction and perm, and general lending for many of my clients over the years. So Clay, thank you for joining. He may be muted. Also, Karen Pig and John Del Judas, names may be familiar for some of you attendees. So let's get right into it. Like I said, we've got quite a lot of material. So raise your hand if you can find that on your Zoom screen, if you would like me to open up your mic, or also just drop a question in the Q&A. So this webinar is going to be about new construction. We're going to talk about cost breakdown. We're going to talk a little bit about tariffs and what we think may be the impact for new construction. How long does it take to build a house, depending on what kind of new construction we're looking at. And we'll talk about some financing for new construction homes. So this is going to be recorded, and it is on my website, retire2nc, numeral 2, retire2nc.com, and you can always email me and ask for a copy of it. Real quick, for those of you that don't know me, this April will be actually 30 years that I've been in the business. I cut my teeth in land development way back when. The last 14 years, I've been specializing in the active adult communities, mainly the active adult communities in the coastal region. I was born in Okinawa. I am a 100% full to the core military brat. I did go to NC State for several years. Then I went out into the real estate business. I own Creekmore Realty Group. I broker my business through eXp Realty. And I've been a partner agent with 55 places, and just on and on. Good stuff. I've been doing this for a long time. Don't want to bore you all with that, but I'll be getting on the Appalachian Trail in the end of May on the quest to complete that. So if you're not aware, 1/3 of all the homes for sale in, and not only across the country, but also here in the coastal region, are new construction homes. So that creates a lot of opportunities. So I asked Linus, my assistant, to actually calculate what is that actual percentage here in Brunswick County. And almost 35% of the homes are built 24 and newer, and 65% of the homes are built prior to. So a lot of new construction options here in the Brunswick County. Also want to make you aware that there is a parade of homes going on this coming weekend and the following weekend, and there will also be a parade of homes later in October. So these are the two big parade of homes. If you want to put them on your calendar, they're great events to attend for new construction. In fact, Sandy has some homes in the parade of homes at Coastal Club, and Lucas, I'm sure he's got some homes with Kent Homes in the parade of homes as well. So what is new construction? So there's 3 basic types of new construction. Okay, so a spec home will be a home where pretty much everything is already selected. It's inventory. You can purchase it, whether you're it's 3 months started or maybe 6 months started. So Sandy, here's a quick question for you. At the Coastal Club, what percentage are already started spec versus homes that you'll be able to customize flooring and cabinets?
So right now we have, I think, probably 15 specs
Inventory
available, and
homes.
we don't really put them, we don't list them until we get to cabinets. There's no changes in those, but we also offer pre-sales. And so I think I probably have about 20, and I think I'm probably going to have a lot release maybe within the next 2 days, some water lots. So we try to give we try to maintain about 50-50 between pre-sales, where you can personalize, and then quicker move-ins.
Okay, so pre-sale would be more of what we would call a semi-custom. So here's the floor plan, okay, and here's generally what we put in it, but we will give you some options. Now, Lucas, who's with Kent Homes, Lucas is what I would call a portfolio builder. So they will have spec homes that are available throughout Brunswick County and also Pender County. So the difference between a portfolio home and a custom builder, Lucas, how would you answer that?
So we've got a range of right about now, I think 15 floor plans that clients can choose from. We do allow them to tailor, to personalize those homes. We're just cautious about what we allow them to do, just so they're kind of keeping it within our realm of our, say, our comfort level. What I consider our custom building is, more of when you're working with an architect, maybe designing a plan from scratch, where, neither the builder or the client's not familiar with the plan. We like to be able to have the opportunity to have an inventory home or a model home to where somebody could actually walk through, see the plan, make sure they're comfortable with the layout, the size of the house. And then, of course, if they like what they see, they have the ability to take that plan and then be able to personalize it as well within our portfolio.
So certainly that would be cost reflective. So if you go full custom versus working with a plan that like Kent and Chesapeake has built many, many times over, that they know in general what the cost would be associated to it.
100%.
Yeah. So we'll talk about in a little bit more detail, but just in general, so we're all talking about the same lingo, spec, semi-custom, which semi-custom would fall in line with portfolio, and then true custom home building. So Coleman Fine Homes is also a custom builder that I've done many homes with, and we'll talk a little bit more detail about that. But when you're going with a custom builder, a lot of times what that means is we, Creekmore Realty Group, is helping you find the land in whatever community you choose to be in: Oyster Harbor, Winding River, Ocean Ridge Plantation, Brunswick Plantation. We cover the whole area. So then we help you buy the land, and then we'll find the best fit of builder for you. And this happens to be a house that is being built in Oyster Harbor at the moment. Okay, so what is the cost variation between a new construction versus buying something existing? So in general, because there's a lot of new construction going on here and builders have to compete with other builders, in general, cost per square foot, and you'll see in another slide that I'll get to, your cost for new construction is typically a little bit lower than it is for an existing home. So obviously the advantages for a new construction is you'll have minimum maintenance because HVAC is new, roof is new, water heater's new, those kind of things. The timeline to build, and we'll go into a little bit greater detail on building, but the timeline could be anywhere from 6 months to 12 months. So Sandy, if somebody walked through your doors, went into Coastal Walk and said, I wanted the what's the surfboarder one?
The Surf Rider.
Surf Rider. Okay. So Sandy, I want the Surf Rider. And then we pick out a home site. What is the timeline to build?
So from date of contract, and we are a production builder, so we're going to move forward to contract. We don't hold lots or anything. We move forward to contract. At time of contract, you pick your structural options with me. Then you have 30 days to do your design gallery appointment. And so from that 30 days, then we say, and we're doing the permitting process during this whole time. Once you finalize your design options, we're looking at 6 to 7 months build time.
Okay. And this is in one specific community that we'll go into greater detail. So Lucas, somebody comes, they come to us, Creekmore Realty Group, and they say, I want to buy land in let's say Oyster Harbor. And our team, we take them through several model homes, say the Lumina Island or something, and then I put them in touch with you or one of your sales team, and then they say, yes, I want the Lumina Island. What's the time frame for Alpha to Omega?
I would usually tell clients to plan on anywhere between about maybe 10 to 12 months. It will take a little bit longer when you are working with established community where you have architectural review boards where you have to submit plans for approval. You might have septic systems that you've got to account for, or other various community related items that could take a little bit longer to get the necessary approvals or permits before we can dig a shovel in the ground. But once we're digging a shovel in the ground, I usually tell folks you can plan on about maybe 6 to 8 months. But the prep, the selections, the finalizing the plans can add about maybe 3 to 4 months to that, giving you a total of about 10 to 12 months.
Right. So these are realistic dates, and one of my mantras is to help people make reality match expectations. So this is part of the reason why we're having this webinar, so people know what to expect. An existing community like Coastal Walk, these are the homes. It is a production builder. These are the homes that you'll move through quite rapidly. When we're picking land, we're going through ARC approvals and all that kind of stuff. ARC, Architectural Review Committee, sometimes ARB, Architectural Review Board, depends on the neighborhood. That adds time to the construction. At any point in time, anybody has a question, certainly you can raise your hand or drop something into the Q&A. So this is an interesting spreadsheet that my assistant and I came up with, just so that you can see in general what is cost per square foot new construction versus an existing home. So in Brunswick County, where the lion's share of homes are being built, you're looking at a median price of $358 and $221 a square foot for the newer built homes. Homes that are built prior to that, you're more per square foot, $287. So about 23% higher in general throughout the county. New Hanover County, a little bit more. New Hanover County is a smaller county. New Hanover County, about 80% of New Hanover County is in Wilmington city limits. In Pender County, Lucas, you've got a development in Pender County, isn't it? Reach.
I live in Pender County in a community called Salters Haven, up in Pender County. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and isn't Sunset Reach, isn't that in Pender?
It's in Wilmington. So it's kind of like
Hanover?
close to the border in the Wilmington area. We can build on your scattered lots if you have a home site, probably into Pender County, but we focus more in the Brunswick, New Hanover County areas.
Okay. So just touching on that for a moment. Okay. Sandy with Chesapeake builds in one community. Okay. Kent Homes can build in other communities, but not where Chesapeake is building.
Right.
So Lucas is able to build on your lot that you purchase. Okay, so Coleman Fine Homes, this is a builder I've done many transactions with as well. This is actually happens to be a house that we have listed in Crow Creek. And this is a full-on custom builder, although this is a spec home offered by a custom builder. This one is directly on the fairway overlooking the green, beautiful view, and 2,700 square foot. So you can see the cost for this house is quite a bit higher than this cost right here. So why is that? Well, there's just more detail that goes into the home, more trim, better, more brick, more better appliances and so forth. So how long does it take to build? Okay, so both Sandy and Lucas have given you an answer that's right about exactly what we're talking about. But just to break it down, the ARC approval, if you're in a community other than where one builder like Chesapeake is building, because Chesapeake is the ARC, the ARB, here, what adds time is like in Winding River, the ARC is actually residents who raised their hand and said, hey, I'm willing to be on that committee. So that adds time. So that could be 1 month to 3 months, depending on when you're making your submittal. And also whether or not you're working with an inexperienced builder, whereas Kent has built many homes in Winding River and Ocean Ridge, well, maybe not Ocean Ridge, but Oyster Harbor and some of the others. So you want to make sure you're working with a builder who is experienced with the ARC of whatever community that you want to build in. If you're working with Creekmore Realty Group, we will make sure that that is the case, because just the other day, I was talking to somebody that told me they built a home in Ocean Ridge Plantation, took 18 months to build. We will prevent that by working with us. We will make sure you don't go through that bad path. So here's just a basic breakdown of the timeline: roof inspections, interior finish, and then final inspections and walkthrough. Okay, so in Brunswick County, where you have in 2024, if you look at the chart to the right, 4,853 homes were permitted for construction, compared to the years before. But also, if you look at New Hanover County, only, well, a fourth of that, roughly, more than a fourth of that were in New Hanover County, and Pinner County, only 891. So clearly the lion's share of the homes that are being built are in Brunswick County. And the reason for that is that's where the active adult communities are, and the 55 and older people. That's the majority of the people who are coming into the county. There's more beaches, there's more golf. They're just things that are attractive to the retirees. That being said, and again, just trying to make reality match expectations, so that, you know, when you go down the path of getting the house built exactly the way you want it, or at least new construction, know what to expect. So we've got 8 different inspections on a new construction, and there are only 18 inspectors in the entire county of Brunswick County. So be patient. Still, the timeline that Sandy told you, the timeline that Lucas told you, they're both very realistic, but understand that it's not that the builder doesn't want to get the house built sooner. They are also at the mercy of the inspectors to come and make sure the foundation is inspected properly. If the foundation fails because of, I don't know, some simple, Lucas, give an example of why a foundation inspection would fail.
I mean, you've got, and again, they're very, very strict. They do a great job throughout their inspection process, so I have to give them that. But I mean, when you're talking about you know, a lot of the communities we're building on what they call a raised slab foundation. So there's a lot of elements that come into play with that. So you've got your actual blocking, concrete blocking that kind of forms the perimeter. Then you've got fill dirt that you do to compact it. You run your plumbing, you run your electrical that's going to go in the slab. You would put a vapor barrier down, and all these things, you know, at certain times. I mean, I'll be honest with you, there was one instance where I believe we failed an inspection because the vapor barrier was the wind kind of blew it over off a corner. And, you know, obviously before they pour the slab, they will double check everything like that. But if inspectors out there, you know, it just depends on, you know, if they're willing to, you know, just kind of let you know to correct it, or sometimes they'll fail you. And it's just a matter of somebody going right back out there, just resecuring it, and just to kind of make sure the inspector's happy and satisfied, so we can move forward with that.
So if it fails, don't freak out. It just something simple in most cases, but it just, you got to reschedule the inspector to get back out there.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Kent Homes has a dedicated foundation specialist for all your homes. Is that correct?
Yes, we actually have we do a couple of, like, we'll call them checks and balances, where we've got staffing that essentially is kind of part of the quality control throughout the entirety of construction. He's not your project manager, He's essentially almost like I don't want to say third party because he works for Kent Homes, but he's not building homes. He is literally there for quality control. And, he's just going out, just checking on things and just ensuring that hopefully we can keep that even flow timeline to where, we can limit those hiccups or those inspection concerns that might come up.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that these are the general inspections that have to happen in the construction of a home. So here's a flow chart. Now, there's a lot of information on here, and so I don't want to go in detail on everything, but please know that this webinar is recorded. You can go back to the website, retire2nc.com, and play this recording and hit pause. And then, take a screenshot, but take a look at these things. But here's the general timeline of things, that the framework, if you will, of a new home construction. Okay, oops, moved too far. Okay, so there is roughly 26 trades that go into the building of a house. So there's like 5 trades for the site prep and structure. There's another 5 trades for the exterior shell. There's another 5 or so trades for the rough ends, the plumbing, the HVAC, gas filter. So a lot of trades go into building of the home. And some come and go, based on where they are in the construction. So the roofing contractor may come at one point in time, but then he has to come back for final inspection or whatnot. Okay, before I hit tariffs real quick, anybody have any questions about timeline of construction and what actually goes into the construction of a home? Always feel free to reach out to us at any time. So, all right.
Chris, there is a question in the question and answer.
Okay, how often do people pay third-party inspectors to inspect? Very often, Neil. And I've got 2 builders or 2 inspectors that I've used many, many times. So just in case I read over that question too quick, the question from Neil is, how often do people hire a third-party inspector to inspect their homes under construction? So again, very often. So the most important inspections by a third party are prior to sheetrock and also prior to or right at CO. Those are the most important. However, I've had some of the inspectors who actually are builders, have been builders, they'll inspect it 4 or 5 times depending on how you want to contract with them. But I will help you through that process when you're ready to start construction and getting an inspector. But I would always advocate it. Great question, Neil. Thank you. So National Association of Realtors is expecting an increase in construction cost, in part due to just material is going up, and in part because of tariffs. So anywhere between 75 to 10,000 per home in general. Now, Lucas, I think you've just had a price increase recently, and was that 77,000? Is that what I understand?
It ranged between about $7,000 and $9,000. I mean, right in that range that you have on that screen.
Okay. And Sandy, you said you've not had a price increase yet?
No, we have not. We've held steady since it's a startup community. They've been very good to us. They've held the pricing steady, but it can happen at any time.
Okay. Now, Sandy, you had mentioned something earlier, which I'm going to address, and also as it pertains to Kent Holmes Lucas, who's on our guest panel. Now, Sandy, you don't have any escalation clauses in your contract, which means
No, we
that
do not currently. You never know, but the great thing about Chesapeake is once you go under contract, that's the price of your home. Because since we are a production builder, we don't have the different costs that are associated with semi-custom or custom builders. So the price stays the price. It doesn't change. Like I said, things can change, but at this point, and I've been with Chesapeake in a different market, in our Raleigh market, for 5 years, and I've been here for a year, and we've never had an acceleration clause.
Okay, let me pause on that to answer a question for Craig. How many of the trades are employees versus third parties? Now, Lucas, this would be more of a question for you. So how many people of the 26 trades, you know, the flooring and the roofers, how many of those are employed by Kent versus we third party these?
Essentially 100% subcontracted.
Right. But your subcontractors, you vet them and they most of them stay with you, you know, for because they know that you're a great builder and you
Absolutely. I mean, we vet them, we check their quality, we check their, obviously they have to have proper insurance requirements. You know, we make sure that you know, they have the quality that we expect. You know, they show up, which is, you know, something that is pretty important, especially with how busy you can be in this area. But at the same time, like you mentioned, we've been building for quite some time, many years. And so we've been able to not only establish, but keep a lot of the trades and the contractors. So, you know, we've been fortunate enough to partner with them for years and years. So a lot of them are ones that we're very familiar with. So we have the confidence knowing that they're going to complete what we expect and to the quality that we expect.
So, yes, and I've witnessed that. So, Sandy, how many of the trades, and you may not be able to answer this question, but how many of the trades would you think are third party versus employed by Chesapeake Builders?
Well, they're all employed by Chesapeake Builders, but they are third party. Our project manager is, of course, employed by Chesapeake Homes. Our division president is employed by Chesapeake Homes, but our trades are all third party. They're not, we contract with them. They bid out the job.
Right. They pay their own insurance. Right.
Yes.
Okay. So Nora, great question. So Nora asked a question. I've walked through a framed house, saw gaps between roof trusses and wall supports. Also saw lumber that was not a full board, knots and splits. Can we as buyers ask to be replaced, repaired, and re-inspected? Yeah, absolutely. So, and that is the big benefit of having a inspection by a qualified builder prior to sheetrock. Once sheetrock goes in, then, you know, it's hard to see. So, so I'm curious, Nora, where, because I'm not seeing as many homes that are framed that improperly. I wonder where that house was. So, but the answer to your question is yes. And Nora, we can help you get an inspector for that. So here's the good news about tariffs. Of the $204 billion worth of goods for new construction, only about 7% of those goods were imported. Now, 85% of the lumber comes from, softwood comes from Canada, and 70% of the gypsum drywall comes from Mexico. Now, you'll see in the bottom right corner of this slide, the National Association is urging the White House to exempt tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Who knows whether or not that'll happen. Certainly there's a pause on it, but that is what the National Association of Realtors, or I mean, excuse me, National Association of Home Builders is driving towards, lobbying for, and pressing towards. What will be the impact on labor? 30% of the construction labor comes from immigrant labor. So who knows, you know, but I mean, I should have put it in this slide. What the National Association of Home Builders still anticipates it's not going to stop new construction. New construction will keep going. We'll just have to sort all this out. But I do know that the National Association of Home Builders is striving to limit tariffs to Canada and Mexico. And we already know that we're looking at somewhere around a $7,000 to $10,000 increase for new construction. Again, part of that is tariff related. Part of it is just because materials go up over a period of time. Do you have anything to add to that, Lucas?
That's one thing I was going to mention to you is, I mean, you know, especially due to the demand in this area, I mean, you know, we see some sort of, you know, annual increase of new home construction costs. So we haven't necessarily seen major impacts from tariffs, you know, at this point in time. Our increase was partially due to, you know, our start schedules, meaning our actual, when we dig a shovel in the ground, right now is about I think it's roughly 4 months from today or contract date, just because we try to keep an even flow construction. So we're not taking too many jobs to the field at once, overflowing our or overwhelming our project managers. So we're not only planning on what's current today, but what is expecting, what continues to come in. But in general, I mean, knock on wood, we're hoping that the tariffs and the impacts of the tariffs remain minimum. You know, especially for homeowners looking to either build or purchase new in this area.
So I skipped over a question for you, Lucas. Once you go under contract with new construction with Kent Homes, that contract purchase price is locked in for how long?
It is basically locked in. To my knowledge, we've never had to increase the price on a homeowner. Within our construction or our construction contract or our purchase agreements, you know, we've got kind of like timeline expectations that we want the buyer to make sure that they're achieving, you know, certain goals and certain milestones, just to make sure we're keeping the ball rolling. But it is incredibly important just to know that because we are not the owners of the neighborhood or the developers, we're reliant on, you know, outside sources like the architectural review boards in these neighborhoods. We can't sometimes guarantee when we can break ground. So it might be an extra, you know, 2 weeks or 30 days from what we planned, but our guarantee to you is that we are locking in that pricing. So we're, you know, it's not anything that we're purposely delaying construction by any means. We're doing our absolute best to get the job to the field as quickly as possible, but we just have a couple extra steps that it takes to get there. But at least you know that the pricing is locked in and guaranteed.
Gotcha. So, all right, let's talk about Coastal Club. In a, you know, because we're going a little bit longer than what I wanted, Sandy, because there's so much great material, but talk to us about Coastal Club. Tell us why it's such an exciting development.
So this is our second amenities-based community. We built a similar community in Little River called Bridgewater. I don't know if any of you've heard of it. I know like Karen and John have, but it's what we did is this is a former golf course, the Farmstead Golf Course. And so we purchased it. I've never had an experience like this because we are building in North and South Carolina. We have 4 collections. We're going to have 700 homes in North Carolina and 400 homes in South Carolina. We will not build in 2 states simultaneously. Once we finish North Carolina, we'll move to the South Carolina side because of everything that we've talked about previously. Inspections and everything are different in 2 different states. So our anticipation is that we will have our pickleball, bocce ball, and pool done by the end of the year. But we all know we don't swim here in December. So I'm thinking the pool is probably going to be first quarter. We're going to start construction on our 8,000 square foot clubhouse with fitness center and full-time activities director in 2026. Then we're going to have multiple things throughout the community that'll be built as we build the community. We do anticipate a 10-year build out on this, but we have something pretty much for everyone. Eventually right now we have 1 collection called the bungalows and our second collection called the cottages released, but we will release a smaller product line and called our villas, and then a larger product line called our estate plans. So it's
So,
gonna be fabulous.
yes, so my team, Creekmore Realty Group, we've walked through all the models. Several standouts about the homes. I am impressed with the construction, giving the price, very, very reasonable price for the homes. You know, which is the one that has the like the ensuite for the relative? What's the floor plan?
So that's a great plan. And Chesapeake has been in business. We're a privately owned company, and we've been in business for over 30 years. We build in 3 states, Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. That plan is fabulous. It's called the Seashore. So you can add that multi-gen suite.
It's really
We
nice.
do offer options.
Yeah.
More so than a lot of production builders, especially like national production builders. We do offer a lot of nice options structurally and in design. We also still offer a state-of-the-art design gallery where you can personalize. We have 2 trained certified interior designers. So we're not as custom as Lucas is, but we do offer some things that you can personalize your home with.
As an example, Lennar, Ryan, and DR Horton, you get what they offer, period. You can
Everything's
change
included.
after you close. But one of the things I do like about Chesapeake Homes is that you can personalize the home. And personally, I think that is a great, great alternative. Again, you've got different levels of costs for builders, okay? It's what fits right to your budget. And we, Creekmore Realty Group, we help get you to the right development and the right builder to fit your budget. I have been impressed with the quality of the homes from what I can see in with Chesapeake builders. So going over a little bit, so stay on. I've got a few more slides to go through. I'm going to transition. I'm going to skip over to Clay Robertson, who is with Home Trust Bank, and then I'll go back to some of the big mega developments that are coming to this area. So Clay, I think I had you. Oh, you're unmuted. So Clay, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, for having me, and hello to everyone. And little technical difficulties with my camera, so you probably didn't want to see me anyway. But just real quick, a little bit about Home Trust Bank. Maybe not familiar with Home Trust. Based in Asheville, business for almost 100 years now. Trade on the New York Stock Exchange. A lot of branches in the western part of the we have several branches in the area. In Virginia, we're licensed in most states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. For what it's worth, I've been in the mortgage business since 1993. That's 30 plus years, I guess. So a long time. So my wife and I moved from Raleigh in 2019. We lived here full time at Ocean. And when we first got here, calling on a lot of realtors and builders, and they asked me about construction to perm. And I'm like, well, I've been in the business long enough. I know exactly what it is, but the broker world at that time did not offer it. So I'm connected with a bank, and I stayed there, a large bank, for several years. And I decided with the Home Trust, it was probably a better fit to finish out my career. And Chris and I have known each other since we moved down here. My wife and his wife are good friends, and Chris is just such a knowledgeable guy and has built a great team with John and Karen, et cetera. So just to get a little bit about the one-time construction to perm close, hence it's a one-time close. So somebody comes to me today, we talk about it, I tell them they feel comfortable with it. I direct them to do an application online. Everything is secure. They can upload documents there. From the time of the application, it's going to take about 30 to 45 days to close. So once they close, we have 3 different loan programs that we offer currently, a 10-6 and a 5-6 arm. And let's take the 10-6. So what it basically means is that the interest rate is locked for 10 years. Then it can adjust every 6 months thereafter. So a typical build time, which we've talked about during this webinar, with the size homes that, Kent's building, Sandy, Coleman Fine Homes, typically it's about 12 months. Very seldom do I see anything that goes above it. We can go up to 15, 18, or even 24 months. If we exceeded the 12-month build time, there's a slight fee to get an additional 90 days. It's very minimal. It's $250. So during the build time, it's going to be just interest only. The borrower has the option just to pay the interest on the money that's being drawn. Okay. So let's say the home is complete on into month 12. We got the CO. Beginning month 13, the loan becomes fully amortized over 360 months. Where some of my competitors, if you use the first 12 months as interest only, then it's amortized over 248 months. Hence, the payment would be a little bit higher. Our loan amounts go up to, on a primary and a second home, go to $1.5 million. We will make an exception on that on a case-by-case basis. But if somebody went to $1.5 million, that equates to a sales price, or with the lot value and the cost to build, of $1.875 million. There are not going to be a lot of homes in this market that are going to exceed that. There could be, so again, the third bullet point is about the build time. So we've talked about that. So the next slide, Chris, if you would, move it over for me. That'd be great. Yeah, questions.
With this 10-6 arm, most of the people, not everybody, but most people pay off the home within that 10-year period of time, or most of the people in this area, or they're selling their house, because the average lifespan around over here, not lifespan, that's bad. Sorry. Most people choose to move within 7 to 10 years. So the 10-6 seems to work for most people. Is that not correct, Clay?
So yeah, Chris, that's an excellent point. My experience over my career, the average life of a loan is about 3.5 to 5 years, meaning one, they'll either pay it off, or if interest rates come down, they're going to refinance it, right? So there's a good chance they're not on for 10 years or 7 years. There's another, to your point, there are a lot of people that are moving here. They're selling their home from whatever zip code they're moving from. They've got a lot of cash. So once they get to the end, they say, you know what? We might even pay the loan off in full. There's no prepayment penalty. Now, the banks, even our bank, our friendly competitors, would probably, we'd like to have the loan on the books, but we can't prohibit you from doing that. There's also something called recasting, meaning if you started out with a loan amount of $500,000 and you said, you know what, we want to throw $250,000 at that loan balance. We will recast that payment based on the lower balance for a very minimal fee. So keep that in mind. It's a term most banks offer.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this slide is, we did an example, say a loan amount of $500,000. We have a minimal origination fee. We have a very competitive construction admin fee. Our draw fees are very competitive compared to some of my friendly competitors. So I estimated, with the other third-party fees, the appraisal, tax service, the attorney fee, the lender's title, owner's title is optional, and then the recording fee at the courthouse, you're looking somewhere around $7,000 to $7,500 in fees.
So
explain. And it said no 30-year fixed. Again, our bank does not currently offer a 30-year fixed. Some of my friendly competitors do, but I don't think the ARM it has never been a deterrent for me since I've been here.
Explain what a flood check is.
So every lender is going to do a flood check to determine if the property is on. Okay, if it's in a flood zone, then you probably got to have, you got to get flood insurance, and depending also where the home is located, maybe wind and hail. So you have a listing, Chris, I believe in Leland, And I looked, it did not have wind and hail, but it had, I estimated on a $750,000 list price, the insurance was about $3,000 annually. Flood insurance, depending, could be as as little as $1,000, probably $1,400–1,500 for flood insurance, and then wind and hail can be as well, in addition to your normal homeowners insurance.
Okay. For those of you that are on here, we have a webinar. It's on recorded. It's on our website, retire2nc.com. Look for the events, scroll down for past webinars. We have a webinar on insurance. Neil has a question. Are 10 and 6 ARMs typically lower interest rates than the 30-year fixed?
They can be and may not be. Typically on loans like construction to perm and jumbo loans, which exceed the conforming loan limit of 806.5, they're real loans, meaning the bank is basically going to keep that loan in-house. So depending upon that bank or lender's appetite, yeah, an adjustable rate could be lower, or a bank may say, you know what, we've got a bucket load of money that we want to loan, and they might be very competitive on a 30-year fixed. So it really just depends. But in most cases, the adjustable rates will be lower than a fixed rate, but it's not going to be a blanket statement by any stretch of the imagination.
So Neil, I highly encourage you to reach out to Clay. I'll make sure you have his information, and he can give you a one-on-one conversation about that. Certainly, when you come in June, I can introduce you to Clay as well. So I'm just going to run through this real quick.
Happy to do so, Neil.
So draws and disbursements, builder will provide the draw schedule. There's typically one draw per month, but so if you think of that, the construction time is on a construction to perm is 7 months, so that may be 7 draws. Now, Sandy, your homes, they don't require construction to perm, is that correct?
We don't do construction to perm. Of course, we do have a preferred lender. It's part of our company, Tidewater Mortgage, but we can do, FHA, VA, and what we do, if it is a pre-sale situation, we ask for a conditional loan approval, which means the condition being when the home is completed and we get final CO and final appraisal. So you go ahead and get your loan up front, but it's conditional on us receiving the CO and appraisal, final appraisal.
They make a deposit, okay, and then no other payment until the house is completed.
That's correct.
And the general deposit is a percentage of the purchase price, or what is it?
So actually, our earnest money deposit is 5% on a pre-sale. I mean, 5,000, and then 10% options deposit on your structural options due at time of contract, and then 10% on your design options due at the time that you finish your design options, which is typically 30 days from time of contract. Okay. And then all of that's applied at closing.
So upfront, out of pocket is a little bit easier when you're working with a builder like Chesapeake, who is the one and sole builder in their development that they are developing and building in. We Creekmore Realty Group, we have experience with all of that, so we'll help you through that. I want to touch briefly on land real quick. We do help people buy land. We help people buy land in Ocean Ridge and Winding River and in places where land is available. So during our process, let's say if the land is in Ocean Ridge Plantation, then we will make recommendations on who is an experienced builder for Ocean Ridge Plantation, or who is an experienced builder for Winding River or Oyster Harbor. Key point is if you do not use a builder that is fully experienced with the ARC of that community, it could easily stretch that out. So let's avoid that. Let's not let that happen. Things that are important that we walk our clients through when we're looking at land is what is the impervious limitations, meaning what size of house can you put on it on the first floor side of driveway. Lucas Wright, who's on the website, guest panelist, one of the things that we do when we identify a parcel of land, say in Winding River, then we'll say, hey, Lucas, our client is considering building an alumina island on this particular parcel. We send it over to Lucas and his team. They do what's called a test fit to see whether or not it will fit on the property and how much land is left. So, and part of the reason why, many reasons why I choose to work with Kent Homes in this scenario is they're very responsive and they very much help our clients through that process. Anything you want to add to that, Lucas?
No, it's just a matter of, when you have the ability to build on in multiple neighborhoods, they all have different unique requirements. So that is why it is so important to team up with a realtor like obviously Chris Creekmore, and then allow Chris to guide you in the right direction to help choose a quality and the proper home builder for that's not only knowledgeable in that neighborhood, but that can assist with those types of considerations that you have listed, because that can add to additional unknown costs that you weren't planning on. It can add to additional timing, and so for folks who are looking to build, you want to make sure that you team up with obviously a realtor like Chris or a builder like ourselves who can really help guide you in the right direction.
As an example, Crow Creek and Crow Creek is different than Oyster Harbor, and the ARC guidelines are different. So we can give you a better understanding of what in general is it going to cost to build in one community versus another. So going through quite a lot of information. Really, I probably put too much on this webinar, but Kent Homes, kenthomes.net. Fabulous builder. I've been building with them for years and years and years. Coopers Bay just happens to be one of their portfolio homes that I've had several people build with. Coleman Homes, who is a custom builder, a true custom builder, although they do spec some homes as well. Done lots of homes with them over the years. And Bill Clark Homes, I've got several homes that are under construction with Bill Clark. Bill Clark is one of those builders who will build on your site, and also they develop their own communities. So if you have any questions about their communities, we certainly can help you with that. So I skipped over a huge part of this webinar, which was going to where are these mega developments. So I'm going to give the people who are still on this webinar an opportunity. If you want to stay on, I'm going to review where these mega developments are, how big are they, and what general type of homes that they'll be on there. Lucas, I want to thank you. Clay, I want to thank you. Sandy, I want to thank you for being gracious with your time for this webinar. And again, this webinar is recorded. So anybody that's, we will send out a follow-up for every all the participants that are on this webinar, so that all the contact information is shared. So again, thank you for my guest panelists that are being on board. If anybody wants to stay on for another 10 minutes, I'm going to review some of these mega developments that are coming to the area.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.
You're very welcome. Thank you, everyone. There are quite a few developments that are coming to the area, but I just wanted to point out some of the what we call a mega. So a mega development is going to be more than 1,000 dwelling units for the community. So let me go over here one more slide. Okay, Midway Landing, Ashton Farms, Timber Farms, Waterway, and King Tract. These are some new mega developments that are coming to the area. Now, there are some others that are maybe not as large of these Stanley Martin will be doing quite a bit of development. Bill Clark is doing quite a bit of development. And also Pulte Homes, which is Del Webb, is going to be doing quite a bit of development. I'm not going to really touch on those at the moment, but just know that if you want to know more about those, just reach out and we'll be happy to share that information with you. So just real quick, right over here is this one right here is the Midway Landing development. And then that is in between Southport and let's call it Shallotte, in between Southport and Shallotte. And then we also have the Waterway, which will be in the Southport area. Waterway will be a development where Kent will be building, Bill Clark most likely, and several other builders that will be building in there. I didn't put it on here, but Stanley Martin is also building a new section in Brunswick Forest currently. Then we have Timber Farms, and then we also have the King Tract, and we also have Ashton that are in that area. So you've got 3 mega developments that are over in the Calabash area, and then 2 mega developments that are over in the Southport area. And in fact, there's another one that is just off the screen that is coming over into the Leland area, closer to a community called Southport. So just in a nutshell, Midway Landing will have 1,500 acres, 3,600 proposed units. 36 will be multifamily, 2,200 or 2,950. This is proposed. That will be in the single family and 360 in townhomes. Ashton Farms, another 2,900 proposed homes, of which 400 will be single family semi-attached, most likely like a duplex kind of home. And then 2,300 that will be single family homes. And then also another 200 more or less your townhome style homes, timber. Another 400 multifamily, another 124 in townhomes, 228 in duplex. So what's the difference between a townhome and a duplex? A townhome could be 4 in a row, typically master on main, bedrooms up, and a duplex is just exactly what it sounds like. That's 2 units side by side, so they're both end units. And then another 1,700 units for single family at Timber Farms. Waterway, there'll be a lot of portfolio builders in Waterway over by Southport, planning on another 1,100 homes, of which some will be kind of a cottage style home, a little bit smaller, and then some that will be a bigger square footage, which will be their more of their medium density homes. And then the King Tract, King Tract is also up towards north of Calabash. This is going to be a big one, 1,800 units of homes. We are keeping our eyes on for these new developments. More information that will be coming. Stay tuned to Creekmore Realty Group. We'll keep you informed with all of these. We will be having many, many more webinars during the process or throughout the year. Again, thank you all who have stayed on to watch this. I hope it's informative. We will be doing many more webinars. The next one will be Selling Smarter, how to prepare price profit for your home. So whether you're selling in this area or selling in New Mexico, all this is relative information. So please stay tuned, Retire to NC. So thank you all for joining and staying on, and call us anytime. This is Chris Creekmore, John Del Judas, and Karen Pig. We're also on the website. Thank you all, and thank you for attending.
Thank you.